Put your gloves on, touch them up, and let's go. I have concocted the perfect matches for the winners of the main card for UFC Sacramento. Let's just get straight into it. I am putting Anthony Wentz up against another prospect in RJ Harris. RJ Harris just came to the UFC as well as Anthony Wentz. I think this is an interesting heavyweight matchup. Two prospects. Harris is 6-0, has 3 submission wins, and Anthony Wentz just submitted Terrence Chapman in his debut. Harris, primarily a wrestler. Obviously, he's a heavyweight. He's got the striking. So I feel like this is a good test for Anthony Wynn's grappling. I don't want to just give him to another striker because we know how he does there. He excels very well. Anthony Wynn has more power, I believe. RJ Harris obviously has power too, but I think Anthony Wynn's going to have the power advantage. Obviously more athletic. Look at the physique. Really good top game, and he has a seriously good ground and pound. RJ Harris advantage, the hammer. More wrestling, bigger frame, and I think he's more comfortable grappling, and he's showing that he can finish quickly. RJ Harris, bro, answer my DM so I can get a interview with you. Holy cow, man. But I think Anthony Wentz, with just the athleticism, how quick he can be, I think the power advantage is where it really comes in for me, because I feel like Anthony Wentz could get a guy like RJ Harris out quick. This is what I would want to see. I don't know if the UFC makes this. I feel like they definitely can make this. I think Harris could make it ugly by getting into that wrestling and making Anthony Wentz work. The big question is can RJ Harris control Anthony Wentz without getting caught in the scramble? So, as of right now, we've seen one fight from each of these guys in the UFC. I would take right now, I'm going to say Anthony Wentz by a round 1 TKO. I think there would be a good back and forth grappling exchange. I think both would show off good scrambles, but I think Anthony Wentz is going to just be quicker and have that power advantage and put RJ Harris out in the second. Next up, I am putting Carly Giudice against a very dangerous matchup in Dion Barbosa. I think this is a very interesting women's fight because Dion Barbosa, legitimate grappler, 5 subs, good judo background, and she submitted Anna Melesiano in June. I think it was June or July, one of those two. Anna Melesiano's not the best, but a submission's a submission, man. And in the women's flyweight division, we just kind of gotta. It's different than a men's division. It just is. So, obviously, Giudice coming off that first round TKO of Jessel Chavez. Giudice needs to keep this standing for sure. This is a good test in her grappling. She's faster, and I think she has the finishing ability against Dion Barbosa, and she will have the advantage at range, and she needs to avoid the clinch completely. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a big problem. Dion Barbosa is a very strong grappler. Simple path to win for Dion Barbosa. She's got to take her down. The submission threat is there. I think Giudice has a better chance of winning the striking exchanges, but Barbosa's grappling is a huge problem. If Dion Barbosa gets Giudice down, she can control the fights, and right now, I think Dion Barbosa would win this fight, but I really want to see the striking exchange. See how Dion Barbosa does on the feet, because Carly Giudice is very dangerous, and she could put her out. She's very quick, and she has that finishing ability, and I just think this is a banger matchup to make. But right now, I am taking Dion Barbosa by a 29-28 decision. Next up, I am putting Markel Menderosa versus Tofik Musayev. I think this is a banger. Medeiros just took Jones out in the second round, and I don't know how you guys look at the rankings, but I use the new meta ranking system. That's just what I use personally, and Tofik is ranked number 14. I think it's okay giving Medeiros a guy like Tofik. Tofik just he's had a loss, and I believe Medeiros hasn't had a loss in a while, so. And I think Musayev is the perfect test because dude's a very dangerous kickboxer. 19 career TKOs, KOs, and he just beat Ludovic Klein not too long ago. Medeiros is a better technical striker, very good combos. I don't know if I'd say technical striker because Taufik's good, but I feel like he's got more power. So I'd say technicality goes to Medeiros. He can fight at range, so I think that gives Taufik some problems. And obviously he's got the finishing instincts. But Taufik Musayev, more power, amazing kicking game. And that KO threat will always be there. And Taufik, like, you go look at the guy's record, he has experience. So this is a hard matchup for Markel Medeiros. The biggest problem that I think for Medeiros is that Musayev does not need a lot of openings, dude. If he sees something, he's going to capitalize on it. And in his career, I looked it up earlier, he's been to decision 3-4 times, and he has 30 professional fights. So I feel like that really tells you something about Taufik Musayev. I think Medeiros is going to have the cleaner striking, more technical, but one mistake in Taufik, I severely underrated him in the last fight he went up against, who'd I say? Ludovic Klein. I severely underrated Taufik Musayev. So, right now, I would take Taufik Musayev by round 2 KO, and I think it'd be a flush knockout because one mistake, it's over. And I think the first round would be super competitive. I think both guys get rocked, but Musayev comes out in the second round and just knocks him out. I think this is one of my favorite matchups I put together. This is a real banger, and I really want to see this. So, UFC, make it happen. Next up, I am putting RDR. I'm giving him a ranked matchup against Bogdan Guskov. He just moved up to light heavyweight, obviously. Roman Dolidze's poor fight IQ. Bogdan's fight IQ wasn't the greatest in his last either, so he can fight two guys with bad fight IQ. Reinier de Ridder, I feel like, doesn't have a whole lot of time left. But I think Guskov's a good test for him in the light heavyweight division because Guskov, like, I got to give him some leniency as much as I don't want to. He came in on that fight against Ankalaev in short notice, so let's wait a little bit. I know RDR wants to get back to the family, rest up a little bit. He didn't take damage, but Guskov did, so it's going to be a while before we see this fight. Maybe we see it in January, maybe February, I don't know, but I feel like this is definitely a good fight to make. RDR has a huge grappling advantage. He's going to use those knees, use the clinch. Obviously, submissions are always there for him. Guskov, power, great hands. He has the 205 experience, so I think that'll really test Reinier de Ridder. In the pocket, that is a problem, and RDR is going to need to get into the pocket in order to throw those knees, those elbows. And those knees, dude, they are no joke. When Reinier de Ridder throws them, they will put you out. And Bogdan Guskov is a guy who has shown that he's capable of knocking out experienced light heavyweights like Nikita Krylov. So how I see this playing out is RDR's way to win is making this a grappling match immediately. If he stands with Bogdan Guskov, a full camp Bogdan Guskov, that's going to be a problem. That's just asking for trouble. I think eventually he would get Guskov down. I think when Bogdan Guskov closes that distance, you're going to see the knees, a few punches from RDR. I think eventually he'd get Guskov down, get into a dominant position, do a little ground and pound, I think. Could see a submission, but I think he dominates on the ground in the first round because, I don't know. I really could see this going either way, but with how good Reinier de Ridder's jiu-jitsu is, I'm very high on Reinier de Ridder's grappling skills. I don't want to throw him up super high, and I just feel like Guskov is the best matchup for him right now. You could go some other ways. I was looking to a couple other people. He wanted to go up I think he said Yuri or Khalil. I don't want to go up that high yet because I think both those guys give him trouble. But if he gets a Bogdan Guskov win, then yeah. And I'm throwing him into the rankings because the guy was ranked at middleweight. He just lost his last fight to Kyle Bahia. So he's capable of being a ranked light heavyweight. And I think I'd take him in this fight by round 2 submission. So I think this is a good fight. Right, I'm kind of undecided, but recency bias is telling me RDR by round 2 submission. But I think it's a good fight to make. Next up, I am going with Vitor Petrino to fight against Waldo Cortez Acosta. Cortez Acosta was about to get his shot at the heavyweight title, and now he has to backstep just a little bit. He was on his way. He was going crazy for a while, but he lost that fight to Volkov. Really interesting fight because Petrino's fought at heavyweight. I think that was 5 straight, and he's undefeated. Waldo Cortez Acosta is a very well-rounded heavyweight, one of the most well-rounded heavyweights we have today. Obviously, coming off that loss to Volkov, but he's beat Derek Lewis, he's beat Shamil Gaziev, he's beat Ante Delija. Very upsetting. I really wanted Ante Delija to win that fight. But Vitor Petrino, very powerful, very athletic, physically strong, very explosive, and he's good at dictating that range. But Cortez Acosta is more experienced. I think the boxing is a lot better than Petrino's. Durable, great power as well. And he's good in the 3-round fights. He's not a guy that's going to gas out. Vitor Petrino showed that he didn't gas out like I thought he was. I thought Vitor Petrino would gas out in that fight. He did not. So I think this is a really good fight to make as well. Petrino's going to have that athletic advantage, but Waldo is going to be difficult to hurt. Waldo is a very good heavyweight. I think what Vitor Petrino has to do is pressure early while Waldo looks for counters. If Petrino goes in there and just gets reckless, then Waldo Cortez Acosta will knock him out 100%. And as of right now, I think Waldo Cortez Acosta will get the win over Vitor Petrino. I don't see Vitor beating a guy like Waldo Cortez Acosta. I just can't see it right now. Waldo's on a run. Literally, like last year, I was talking about, oh, dude, this guy's not going to be shit. He's going to be terrible. And, like, he was on a run for a little bit, and then he lost to Volkov. And Volkov's not a bad loss at all, dude. Volkov was number 2 in the heavyweight division. So, not a bad loss, and I think Waldo Cortez Acosta can get a get back against a guy like Vitor Petrino. However, he needs to be very cautious of the power that Vitor Petrino possesses. And for the finale, RoboCop, Barack Obama himself. I want him to go up against the number 4 ranked in the meta rankings. I don't know what you guys use again, but I go through the meta rankings, and this guy is ranked number 4. Joe Bodybags Pyfer. Just beat Adesanya. A banger, dude. Might be my favorite matchup that I put together. Obviously, we just seen it tonight. Whenever this is uploaded, I don't know. But he just beat Hernandez. 5-round war. Fight of the night. Got his win streak to 4. Joe Pyfer is also on a win streak of 4. I think he was it said he was number 11 on the TV, but I think he's number 15 in the meta rankings. I think so. I think Pyfer is the perfect opponent to give him. I think RoboCop is 11 in the meta rankings, I think. But this is a very dangerous fight for both guys because both these guys I feel like they have a very similar style. Rodriguez, I feel like he can do more of the varied striking. He has, like, we just seen him take out Fluffy's leg. I just seen freaking RoboCop roll up in the wheelchair when they're doing the, like, after the fight post-show stuff. pulled up in a wheelchair, so I can't imagine how Fluffy's legs looking right now. Obviously, body strike's good as well. Very good grappling. Just like he was taken down 3 times, and he really wasn't on the ground for that long. Durable, obviously, and he just proved. I think that was his second 5-round fight. He is proven over those 5 rounds now for sure. He was tired as hell, but we've seen him prove himself. And I think this would be a great fight to make for probably a pay-per-view card next year. The leg kicks and it was just beautiful. Takedown defense is amazing, and Joe Pyfer is a guy that will use his wrestling if he needs to. Amazing boxing Joe Pyfer has. Power in the pocket, very dangerous, and I think it could become a absolute bloody war. And Joe Pyfer's another guy. We know RoboCop can end the fight with one shot. Joe Pyfer can also do the same thing. People have been sleeping on Joe Pyfer for too long. Let's put some respect on his name. How I see this fight going, dude, Pyfer's going to look for that knockout, and I think he's going to get it. But problem is, Gregory Rodriguez, Barack Obama, very dangerous. When he puts those combinations together, it is scary, dude. And we seen him, I think it was against Edmund Shabazian before this last fight. One straight against Edmund Shabazian took him out, and it wasn't even a full power straight. So I would expect RoboCop to go against the legs and the body against Pyfer, and I think that causes some problems for Joe Pyfer. But I feel like what he showed against Israel Adesanya was very impressive. Very, very, very impressive to me. He showed his groundwork, he showed his boxing, and he is a legitimate middleweight contender. He is. So, honestly, right now, I think Joe Pyfer would just do better in that boxing. I think this is standing the whole time. I don't see Pyfer shooting a takedown. If anyone's going to shoot, it's going to be Pyfer. Right now, I would take Joe Pyfer to win by, honestly, I'd probably say like a round 3 TKO. I think they make this a 3-round fight for a big card, like a 336 or whatever's coming up in the future next year. I think Pyfer would just have the boxing advantage. He'd be quicker and he would be more powerful. However, Gregory Rodriguez has that power. I just feel like, almost called him RoboCop. Joe Pyfer has a little more tools in his bag, because against Anthony Hernandez, all Anthony Hernandez really had was the wrestling. He showed some decent striking against RoboCop, but Pyfer's a guy that's got the same, maybe they're equal in power, but I'd say I feel like Pyfer might have a little bit more power, and he's younger. I think he's younger at least. They might be around the same age, but I feel like he's going to have the speed. I feel like he's going to have the power advantage, and I think he can TKO RoboCop in round 3. So those are the fights to make. For the winners of UFC Sacramento, please subscribe to the channel if you like videos like this, and I'm trying to do live fight companions, so if you do follow, it would be a great help to me. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.